Hello students, in this video I'm going to tell you all about your next assignment, the Practitioner Information Sessions assignment. Historically, this assignment has involved students meeting with local technical communication practitioners either face-to-face in a conference room in the English department or via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime. But this semester, everything is going to happen asynchronously and entirely remotely. Please listen to this video and take careful notes of all of the requirements that I'm going to outline here and read the assignment itself in detail. So at the top of the assignment, which is shown on the screen, you'll see the deadlines. This assignment is spread out quite a lot over 3 weeks. So you have lots of time to work on it. The second week of the assignment is a week for elective conferences, and I hope that once I circulate the sign-up sheet for conferences, many of you will choose to sign up for one of those. So the purpose of this assignment is for you to hone your research skills through listening to one presentation and one podcast by a technical communication practitioner. Here, those practitioners will be serving as subject matter experts. You're also going to hone your skills into research about certain facets of the technical communication profession. So this assignment you will submit as a multi-component packet. It will include a 2-page PDF memorandum that addresses and analyzes the research questions listed in this assignment in light of the presentations and the podcasts and your research. You will next include 2 one-page presentation reports. One will cover one of the video presentations and the other will cover the podcast. And the last part is the notes that you took while you were watching the video and listening to the podcast. You're going to combine all of this into a single PDF. You're not going to submit it as separate Word documents. You're not going to use notes. You're going to use save as a PDF, and you're going to have to look online into how to combine PDFs if you don't know how to do that. Okay, so this assignment goes carefully through how you need to prepare for this assignment. So you need to learn about these foundational questions here, and they're listed across pages 1 and 2. And then you're going to do your own research in light of these foundational questions. I give you some guidance in this large paragraph about how to do your research and what sorts of themes you're going to want to hone in on. Next, as listed in step 2, you're going to watch one of 2 videos. They're both from technical writers at Sandia National Labs. One is a much more casual video with one of the tech writers talking, and the other is a PowerPoint with a voiceover. So the first one with Antonio Cardella is the more casual one, and the PowerPoint with a voiceover is by Laura Perlicek, and it's the second one. So you're going to choose one of those. The next is you're all going to listen to this podcast, which is almost an hour long, with Breno Barreto and Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson is the interview subject. So then, that is your background. That is your foundational body of knowledge. You're also going to do secondary research with scholarly articles that are going to help you compile all of the information that you've consumed, and you're going to synthesize it in an analytical memorandum. So this next part of the assignment tells me exactly what you need to do in the 2-page memo right here, bullet pointed. Next section talks about the presentation reports, what you need to include in those. Finally, you'll have your notes section, and lastly, I show you here the value of all of the components of this assignment. So the next thing I'm going to do in this video is show you some examples of past students' work. Okay, let's see here. So sorry about that little glitch. So first up here, we have the first of 3 examples from students from last semester. So we see here that this student included a nice summary section in her memo, and she mentions right off the bat what tech writer she focused on from the video, Laura Perlicek, and then she talks about the episode, How Technical Should a Tech Writer Be, with Tom Johnson. She gives an analysis of the Laura Perlicek video, and she does the same with Tom Johnson here. You see that she includes many quotes. You can see them here if you scroll through. And you can also see that she incorporates her secondary research, such as this article by Benjamin Lauren and Stacy Pigg. And then there are others scattered throughout here. She actually includes some references here. That is not required, but she does include the references page. And she has a nice concluding section of the memo where she brings all of the main concepts that she was considering together. Very excellent. The next section is the event report. And she decided to design hers this way: speaker biography, lecture description and summary, and lessons learned conclusion. This is an excellent component to make sure you have in yours. Here's her other one, formatted exactly the same way. And then she's got her handwritten notes. Very tidy, very neat, and very extensive, which she included here at the end of her PDF. So this received an A. All three examples I'm going to show you today were A level work. Here's another one. You can see this one's tightened up just a bit as compared to the previous example. This student refers to some research right in the overview and the summary. I don't necessarily recommend invoking your secondary research that early in a memo, but this student did it and it held together very well. So we have a summary, a discussion of the first item, which is the podcast, which is an analysis of it relative to the main themes, mentioning the STC's 9 competencies here. And then Laura Perlicek, a discussion of that video. And then the secondary resources from scholarship are invoked here. And then a conclusion and synthesis. This is actually a bit long. It all should have been tightened up so it hit more at the 2-page mark. And also this student used a bit of a casual approach of referring to the speakers by their first name. You always want to refer to your sources by their last name. Anyway, this was still really good. You see that the paragraphs are carefully chunked into small digestible little bits. We have bullet pointed lists. We have bolded major section headings. All very good. Then we have the this is the podcast presentation report with a biography, career experience, genres, and points of consideration, and then another report on the video, one of the video presentations. And this student chose a certain organizational schema for the presentation reports that was different than the last one we saw. I want you to come up with your own organizational schema and your own way of creating different sections in your report, in whatever way you determine it's best to organize that information and label it. So here's the student's notes. This is typewritten as compared to the previous example with nice bullet pointed lists, and it's also quite extensive. It's notes on the presentation that the student chose, the podcast that the student listened to, and the secondary research. Okay, the last one I'm going to show you is this one. Now this one is really, really nicely designed with the use of an engaging font and some color. And you see that the student here has a summary, comes right out of the gate saying this is about 2 presentations. I would maybe frame this a little bit more broadly, zoom out. What might somebody gain from engaging with these kinds of information? Why would you be doing this? So put it more in a broader global context. So you see that the student invokes the 9 competencies here, refers to the Intercom article, quotes from one of the video presentations, has a secondary source right here, which is actually hyperlinked. Many small paragraphs here. As you'll see, this page is a little bit harder to navigate. There might be another major section heading here, which would be very effective, and then a concluding paragraph that makes some final takeaway points. This student has the presentation reports both structured the same way. For the Tom Johnson and the Laura Perlicek, biography, lecture highlights, and conclusions and lessons, really good. And then the notes. This is quite a long bulleted list, but this is only worth 10 points out of the assignment, so I just want to see that you did some thoughtful note-taking. Okay, so I've shown you the assignment prompt, and I've shown you 3 examples by former students, all of whom received an A on this assignment. You can see that all 3 students were able to bring together different modalities of information, video, podcast, research articles that were text. They brought it together into a single message delivering memoranda and 2 reports, and they did an excellent job with that. I'm excited to see what you all develop, and I'm excited to talk through it with you during your conference, and I hope you learn a lot from engaging with this information in this assignment.